And they're in the middle of a really bad run of form under Ange Postecoglou at the moment, with just 2 wins in their last 12 Premier League games. It's been particularly bad at home. They haven't won at home for 105 games, 105 days rather, Tottenham. But when you look at it, 100, yeah, it's been an awful long time. It doesn't feel like he's been there for quite as long. But when you look at the comparison with permanent managers since 2001, and you look over their last 12 Premier League games in charge, only Juan de Ramos has got a worse points return than Ange Postecoglou at this stage of the competition. And when Spurs have made the decision, some of these managers you'll see haven't been sacked at the end of the season. They've been sacked midway through, but this is where they were when they were sacked as manager. And that's why, Gary, it looks as though the pressure is building on Ange Postecoglou in the way that it is.
Yeah, maybe he's obviously under pressure, but maybe the reason he hasn't been sacked is because maybe Daniel Levy has looked at that previous roll call of managers that he has sacked, not just the actual when he sacked them. Some of those managers are in the top 4. Your dad was in the top 4, others were in 5th position, 6th position, 7th position, doing relatively well for Spurs. And not just the fact that actually they were in decent positions, but some great managers on that list that have not been able to work at this club. So maybe he's got to a point where he realises that, I mean, the 3 managers that I think have currently just been here, Mourinho, Conte and Nuno, are 1st, 2nd and 3rd in their respective leagues currently. That is a poor reflection. I've said about Manchester United being a graveyard for players over the last 10 years. This has been a graveyard for great managers who've not been able to get the success that they've wanted. So from that point of view, maybe he's looking back at his history of how he's operated. Maybe he's looking at the managers that have left that are doing currently well. And maybe he's reflected upon that and thinking, actually, it's something that I've got to change here, that culturally I don't create the best environment for a manager.
How do you think those managers compare in terms of when Spurs have decided to sack them and the way they look at what Ange Postecoglou is doing at the moment?
Well, there's never really been any rhyme or reason when he's got rid of managers. That's what I would say. You know, you look at even Villas-Boas was 7th in the league. I think it's hard to second guess what someone like Daniel Levy will do. He'll look at things and try to assess. I felt normally when he comes under huge pressure, that's when he normally tends to want to change the manager. But he's probably thinking right now, who else do I bring out? You know, who do I bring in? There are candidates out there that I think would do a great job here, but I think that's the problem. I thought long and hard about this situation since they lost against Liverpool, and because I played for both clubs, I tried to almost figure out why is it that Tottenham have been underachieving for so long. And I think a lot of it does come from culture. Gary just mentioned it, a winning culture. Whereas when I was at Liverpool, like, I didn't win as much as I'd have liked there, but every season, the culture and the environment was to try and win. You know, you bought players to try and win. You were always around the ground. There was pictures of people that had won, you know, great trophies, people like Graham Souness, tremendous leaders of the football club. But here, I just think that as long as they've got the American football and they've got Beyonce in the summer, I think they're happy. I think the owners are happy. It looks like a business model that everyone could be happy with, that is successful. But does that breed a winning environment? No, it doesn't, because something is fundamentally wrong.
Does one necessarily negate the other? Can you not have both?
Well, he's tried to do both, but it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked the way that he's wanted to do it.
So is that on him, or is it the manager?
Well, I think it's a bit of both.
He's done a lot of good work. He's done a lot of good work at the club in terms of stadium and training ground and other such things. However, the football side obviously comes down to him as well. Jamie, when your dad arrived at Spurs, and I'm asking because, to be fair, I'm wondering what actually happens when managers come here. What does Daniel Levy say the expectation is? Does he say that we're trying to win a Premier League, or does he say, I want to get into the top four? What does he actually... He must set that out when he first comes.
Well, I think they had 2 points from 8 games when he first came.
Right, OK.
So Juan de Ramos was under incredible pressure. Yeah. I think he called my dad up on the Thursday, and then by the Saturday he was already in charge. They played Bolton here, and that was the kind of feeling that he had. I think there was planning protests that weekend, and he thought, right, rather than have any more stick, I'll get him in. Don't get me wrong, they had incredible success. He brought a lot of good players in. We had Modric, Bale, Jermaine was up front. It was an exciting side, a little bit like Pochettino's. So they went really close, but I think that there's a difference there. And
does he say, I want to try and build a title? Does he say, when you played does he say, I want a title-winning team, I want a Champions League winning team?
Probably the objective was obviously to finish in the top 4, you know, Champions League.
Is that said, or is that an unsaid sort of... How does it work here? Because at United, really simple, like at Liverpool, we have to win the league. Even now, I suspect Amorim is being told by the owners, massively, hundreds of points, it feels like, away from it, our target is to get the Premier League title back. I'm sure he's been told that. But what are they told him?